Chapter 17. 3 years later. The Hokage Tower, Kanahigakure. Shikamaru stood in front of the Hokage as she read the proposal with scrutinizing eyes. The Chunin was nothing if not intelligent. He was being touted as a potential tactical prodigy of the likes of the Nai-Dame Rukage, the greatest tactician to ever live. He was being mentored by his illustrious father Narashikaku in the technical aspects of battle tactics and had risen high in that command structure. There was no help for it, though, not with a delicate balance that held the nations together. The so-called Rookie Nine had specialized in their own strengths, making their graduating batch renowned as the strongest and most talented batch of genin since Uchiha had himself graduated. Some had even made jounin, thought Shikamaru idly as he observed the Hokage perusing his report. Neji had maintained his reputation as the most talented Hyuga to ever grace their clan as he made jounin in just 2 years after Genin. Hayashi often claimed in the council that the purity of Neji's Byakugan was alike to the first of their clan. His thoughts were pushed aside as Tsunade looked up at him with a considering expression. It is an interesting proposal, Shikamaru. Rather bold, I dare say. You know that Orochimaru has holed up in Oto with all those missing nins surrounding him. He has not been seen for the last 3 years. It will be an exceptionally tough mission if approved, said Tsunade sternly, peering up at the Chunin. That is true, Hokage-sama. But we need someone to infiltrate Hotogakure to acquire information on its defenses. My father has received intel that Orochimaru has acquired a battalion of Iwanin to bolster the outer wall structure. Akatsuki are building their strongholds quite slowly, but they are doing so surely, he said. Tsunade nodded slowly. True. Orochimaru is secretive and sneaky, and I am afraid he is planning nothing good. Who would you suggest to go on this mission to Oto? Any ninja specializing in stealth would do, Hokage-sama, said Shikamaru, but his fact heightened as he emphasized, an ideal team would be composed of Anbu. This is a very high-level mission. But we might need an S-class ninja to participate, I am afraid. Orochimaru is too sneaky not to anticipate such an attempt. S-class ninja are in short supply, Shikamaru said Tsunade acidly. Kakashi might be one, but his sole responsibility for the moment is training Sasuke. People would laugh if I started doing missions myself. There is really no one else capable of handling Orochimaru and Konoha except a very select few. What about Jiraiya-sama? Asked Shikamaru curiously. We have not had word from him or Naruto recently, they seem to have disappeared from the face of the earth, said Tsunade with frustration. Even Kushina knows nothing, she has her hands full with that Mizukage. I want to go and give that stupid cage a piece of my mind for keeping a foot out of the door for so long. We must make do with the Raikage and Kumo, Hokage-sama, said Shikamaru. Despite Kushina-sama trying her hardest to bring Mizu, despite the friendship the Mizukage professed with her, Shikamaru shook his head. The village of Mist was turning out to be the one wild card in the entire affair. They were choosing neutrality in this time. I think so, said Tsunade. Akatsuki will be making their move soon. We must be ready to send teams to Kumo at a moment's notice. The Akabi should be protected at all costs, as should the Nibi. I have received intel, most likely the attack will not be large-scale. An ambush is expected. I can help predict attack possibilities, Hokage-sama. It should help to make our deployment more focused, said Shikamaru. Tsunade nodded. Do so. I expect the report in 3 days' time, she ordered, and Shikamaru disappeared immediately with a shunshin. He ran through the main streets of Konoha towards the library, jumping up and above several rooftops as he did so. His mind ran several scenarios to solve the problem posed to him, considering and rejecting several possibilities simultaneously. Shikamaru! Shouted Yamanaka Ino, bounding forward from his left. Shikamaru turned and waved at his bubbly teammate. Ino stopped in front of him and bonked him on the head. Well. There you are. I thought we were going to have barbecue with Choji, you know, watch him scarf down the entire restaurant. But we have been waiting for too long and I simply cannot bear Choji's tantrums. I'm sure, said Shikamaru weakly. It was too troublesome. Ino interrupted him with a spitfire look. He paused right there, eliminating his sad excuse immediately. With a sigh, he followed his former teammate towards the one place he seemed to frequent more than his own home. His strange shinobi senses picked up something odd as he traveled through the village. There was absolutely no wind, yet the trees in Konoha were rustling indiscriminately. Ino looked at him quizzically, also noticing the same thing. It was odd. "What was that?" asked Shikamaru as the faint rustling sound seemed to pervade Konoha increasingly. Ino pointed to the streets, noticing several faint blurs race through the village towards the west gate. Shikamaru's eyes widened. "Anbu. And all the elite Jounin," he whispered in alarm as he saw Mitarashi, Anko, Jinma and Raito dash through the village. To his left he could catch Hiba and his team running full pelt towards the gate. The rustling of the trees increased tremendously. Every tree in Konoha seemed to sway in its spot, and Shikamaru's eyes widened as he could see new leaves sprout upon the branch he stood upon. "No way," said Ino, staring at the continuously blooming flowers above her. The two shinobi of Konoha seemed to stand still as they felt a sense of happiness and belonging wash over them, and the trees began to shed their blossoms a season too early. He heard 3 shunshuns to his right and observed a Burame Shino, Hyuga Neji and Rock Lee coming up to him with urgent expressions. "Shikamaru, Shikaku-san requests your presence at West Gate. All the Jounin are assembling there, along with Anbu. I assume it is a force of invaders." Shikamaru shook his head. He knew exactly who was coming, and it sure as hell was not invaders. Nodding to them, he rushed towards the west gate with a sense of euphoria and hope as Konoha began to be blanketed with flowering blossoms of every type. The west gate was teeming with ranks upon ranks of Jounin and Anbu, and he could see his father standing impassively at the Hokage's right. To the Hokage's left stood Hatake Kakashi and his current apprentice Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke had grown tremendously as well. His skill was being touted in all quarters. Kakashi's apprentice was known to have attained mastery of the Sharingan, and his Shunshin was possibly the most acclaimed technique in his arsenal. Already Sasuke had completed several borderline S-rank missions without too much effort, and his enterprise and skill had gained him several accolades. Shikamaru rapidly made his way to the Hokage, and was quite surprised as he saw the Rookie 9 gathered with the Anbu. As Ino and the others went to join them, he made directly towards the Hokage. "Hokage-sama, San, what is the situation?" he asked crisply. Tsunade said nothing, only pointing to an empty spot in front of them 100 yards. All the Jounins and Sasuke's eyes were fixed on the same spot, but he saw nothing. "What?" Before he could reply, a great puff of white smoke appeared at the exact spot Tsunade had pinpointed, but no one seemed to be alarmed in the slightest. Shikamaru recognized the phenomenon, and found himself frowning. "Hello, Tsunade!" came a shout within the cloud of smoke, and Shikamaru frowned even more. This was just too troublesome. He could hear coughing sounds within the smoke, and a voice that seemed to be trying to speak but was cut off by the sheer amount of white smoke that was wafting everywhere. "Jiraiya, your theatrics are old just like you buffoon," said Tsunade in an angry voice as a tall figure with copious white hair became visible. More alarming was the fact that he seemed to be doing a ridiculous dance, hopping around singing praise of himself. "Privileged to meet me, the gallant Jiraiya," he shouted as he lifted up his hands in a pose not really awe-inspiring. Another figure stood to his right, just as tall as him. As the smoke cleared, Shikamaru could see a youth, built every bit as powerfully as Jiraiya himself was. "Could you please give me warning before you throw that smoke pellet?" demanded the youth in a frustrated voice. "That smoke tends to choke me too much," he coughed, and Shikamaru felt the utter silence from the Jounin of the village. "Forget it, Gaki," said Jiraiya. "You will never understand the meaning of epic entrances. You have no clue how to awe your audience to submission." The youth gave a disbelieving scoff and with a final cough lifted up his head to face them all. Tsunade stepped up and whispered, "Naruto, is that really you?" The Rookie 9 were also frozen in surprise. The young man next to Jiraiya was the spitting image of Namikaze Minato, but with differences. He was of sturdier build than the deceased fourth, and was much taller. Sleek golden hair fell down to his shoulders, held in place by the headband of Konoha. His face held much of his father, a trace of his mother. And something he could not put his finger on. Naruto's forest green eyes seemed to be blazing like green embers, and Shikamaru could only barely see past the deception. He could see Naruto had grown tremendously, and he dared not guess how much. "Oh, hello," coughed the young man sheepishly, as Jiraiya banged him on his back. "Hey, Sasuke. I see you have become stronger. And look at all of you," he exclaimed, pointing furiously at each of the rookie 9. "No longer kids, huh?" They simply stared at him. "Well, Dobi," smirked Sasuke. Kakashi smiled as only he could, and Sasuke continued, "I see you have finally grasped the concept of people becoming older. Never thought you of all people would understand." Shikamaru said nothing as Jiraiya laughed heartily at the joke, and a few Jounin too laughed. Even Tsunade smiled, and turned to the assembled Anbu and Jounin with her orders. The alarm was false. "Tell sensory unit that it was not an assault. You may all leave now." With curious and elated looks all the Mas Jounin dispersed with blurs, leaving only Jiraiya, Naruto, Kakashi, Shikamaru and Sasuke with the Hokage. Naruto strode forward to meet the Hokage with a serious expression. "I am ready to heal her." "Heal who?" thought Shikamaru, but Tsunade nodded. "I am glad, we were getting worried. The hospital has been left alone, and we have sealed it to all shinobi. She is ready for your healing." "Do they know?" asked Naruto, gesturing at Sasuke and Shikamaru. Tsunade shook her head. "But Shikamaru must be told as soon as possible. He is our top strategist, and Sasuke, I think you will tell yourself." "Tell what?" asked Sasuke curiously. Naruto nodded to Jiraiya and turned to Shikamaru. "Hey Shikamaru, I know you know several secrets being the chief strategist, but mine is more important than you could possibly imagine." "Tell him after the procedure, Naruto," said Jiraiya, and Naruto nodded. Shikamaru followed them with a puzzled expression as they moved toward the old hospital, and he could see the puzzled expression mirrored upon Sasuke's as well. But the others knew, for they held not puzzlement but hope and satisfaction. What could Naruto be hiding? With a few lazy shunshuns, Naruto stood in front of the hospital that was declared off limits to all shinobi but the Hokage. 3 years. It had been 3 years since his awakening, 3 years since his wife was laid low by the treacherous attack of pain and the impostor. He could feel the emotions of the entire village pressing on him gently, knew that his arrival had created a furor that would have to be dealt with later. "Why are we here, Naruto?" asked Shikamaru. Naruto turned to the Chonin, immersing himself in his sensory abilities. He could feel absolutely no deception in Shikamaru except for a well-concealed readiness. 3 years had turned them all into youths, not quite men but close enough. He of course was a different matter. Glancing at Tsunade, he said, "I believe them to be worthy of my secrets, Tsunade. I will tell them. Sasuke here deserves to know, and Shikamaru is according to you a potential planner of Konoha's strategy." Tsunade nodded in assent, and Kakashi smiled as he saw Sasuke look quizzically at Naruto. Shikamaru remained silent and followed as Naruto led the way into the very leafy interiors of the hospital. A strange chakra pervaded the entire building, seemingly rejuvenating its occupants like a dose of soldier's pills. Naruto strode purposefully through the corridors to the place where his wife awaited healing, focusing his chakra as he did so. Mito had suffered far too much, and he would not let her do so any longer. Within moments, he had reached the room he had sealed with wood release, and felt the wonder of Sasuke and Shikamaru. The place was awash with the power of his senjutsu, and he could not help but feel a sense of pride at a job well done. True, 3 years ago his control of his chakra was abominable at best, as he used to release chakra whenever he got stressed in any way. But now he was better. Much better, and closer to the supreme skill he had once possessed as Hashirama Senju. "What is this place?" whispered Sasuke to his Sharingan. The tree-covered doors were absolutely blazing with a silver chakra that made him want to laugh with ecstasy. Such was its efficacy and power that even the one labeled the emo Uchiha cracked a wide smile. My own chakra, said Naruto absently, as the trees parted for him. The door was pushed open and the shinobi filed in after Naruto to see another stunning vision. Tsunade and Jiraiya watched closely as Naruto briskly made towards Mito, and laid a palm upon her forehead. The earth shuddered as the 8 pillars of wood was returned to it, and the trees in the room began to return to its source. Tsunade leaned to whisper into Jiraiya's ear. Can he do it? Jiraiya scoffed. Tsunade, he is who he is. If the last 3 years of traipsing around with him have taught me anything, it is to not doubt him. Just watch. Mito-sama will be healed even though it is theoretically impossible. Naruto heard that and smirked at Jiraiya. The man knew more about him than anyone except perhaps Mito. His meetings with his mother were few and far in between, and those were fraught with such tension that he was often shunted to consider Kurama's doubts about his mother. What is happening here? Questioned Shikamaru discerningly, looking around the place with his trademark bored look. Kakashi stood with Jiraiya and Tsunade, and they only watched silently as Naruto joined his palms in the tiger seal. That woman is close to dying, observed Sasuke quietly, but no one even turned to him. His Sharingan was at the Mangekyo stage, and he could quite clearly see pathways. What had happened to her was truly atrocious. Sasuke whispered to Kakashi, her source of chakra has been broken, I have no idea how? Trying to heal her is folly. Shikamaru's eyes widened at this, but Naruto opened his eyes to stare at them with a determination that silenced their objections immediately. This time, there was no visible manifestation of chakra around Naruto, but Sasuke could see just how much chakra was contained in his body. It was a wonder he did not explode, taking out the entirety of Konoha with him. She is my wife. Mito is my wife, said Naruto quietly, and saw Shikamaru making the connections fast. Sasuke just stared at him with puzzlement, but Naruto could see the faintest inklings of comprehension still over him. He had waited 3 years for this moment, learning and training in ways that had almost put him to the ground. Mito began to breathe heavily in her prone form, and Naruto turned down to face her. He had created this technique after 2 years of painstaking research, a culmination of healing techniques all over the countries. Tsunade watched anxiously as Naruto's hands flashed through seals in a sequence even Sasuke could not follow. Sasuke, I need your help, said Naruto as he blurred through the seal sequence. Sasuke started at that. Naruto was never one to ask for help. With a glance at Kakashi, he strode forward, standing at Naruto's side in an instant. With a final seal, he separated his hands and laid one on Mito's chest and one on her brow. Can you do shape manipulation of lightning and fire? He asked intently. Sasuke nodded, and held out his hands. The room was lit up as fire and lightning crackled into existence in his palms, and Naruto nodded approvingly. He turned to Tsunade. I need Sasuke because I will fuse all elemental natures to fuel my jutsu. That is how the human body is composed, as you well know, he said, and proceeded to continue. Kakashi interrupted, however. What about yin and yang? Naruto smiled mysteriously, and held out his hands widely to the side. Sasuke could see earth chakra and water chakra take shape in both palms, and Naruto intoned softly to the earth, Makoton, Hote no Jutsu. 4 huge hands of wood burst from the ground, towering all around them. Their palms held glowing chakras of green, white, silver and black. A gasp of pure surprise came from Shikamaru, who knew exactly what it took to split chakra in so many ways. His suspicions were all but confirmed as he saw the spectacle of Naruto consciously molding the 8 different pure chakras into one single sphere that hovered above Mito. You all had better close your eyes, Naruto advised them calmly as the sphere's brightness grew to painful levels. It seemed to be fed by the chakras in the hands of Sasuke, Naruto and the arms of wood. Shikamaru could only stand with growing certainty as the Hokage and the 2S Rankinen simply watched solemnly. Tentayamura Iari, he heard Naruto's voice, and the light of the sphere consumed everything as it fused with Mito's slowly diminishing body. Shikamaru closed his eyes tightly, wrapping himself with the shadows his clan knew so well. I could never have expected that Naruto was him of all people, he thought as he staved off the painful light with the shadow manipulation of the Nara clan. He saw Jiraiya's hair elongate and expand to shield himself and Tsunade from the jutsu, and he thought he saw a skeleton of some sort encase Sasuke. Kakashi he could see nowhere in the room. What a twist of fate. Of all the people in Konoha, Naruto is him. Of all the people. It came the sibilant whisper from Orochimaru, as he manipulated some unknown compound in his laboratory. The snake Sannin turned to face the Uchiha who had seemingly appeared out of nothing in his laboratory, lowering his hood disdainfully. Orochimaru replied Uchi quietly. Have you finished recreating it? Pain is expecting it to be in his hands very soon. He did not risk using the creation of all things just to indulge your imaginations of the six-path sage's power. The dank basement seemed to grow moodier as Orochimaru chuckled his dark laugh. Carefully replacing the vial of a bright red liquid in its holder, he wiped his hands and turned to Ichi. Pain demands much. That metal is not very easy to make malleable, Ichi. It will take time, he said condescendingly. Ichi stared at him disquietingly for a time, and then nodded slightly. So be it. Pain has a message for you. If you think you can betray us again, you will be destroyed without hesitation, said Ichi as he wavered out of existence balefully. Orochimaru just laughed at the Uchiha's words. He knew all too well how testy Pain could be. A dark corner in the lab stirred, and out came his promising subordinate Kabuto. Orochimaru-sama. What do you think Akatsuki will do with the item? He asked curiously. The Rinnegan has the ability to manipulate all the elements without such a crutch. It seems like inordinate effort to get something they already have. Orochimaru's face grew pensive. Despite all his intelligence and acumen, he had wondered the self-same thing. Why on earth would Pain ask for such a thing? There were things going on he did not know about, and not knowing something was a great irritant to the snake Sannin. I do not know, Kabuto, he admitted distastefully. But I will find out. Naruto had just finished activating the powerful seal of privacy in the Hokage Tower, and made to sit down leisurely in a rather comfortable chair. Relief was written all over his face. The healing of Mito had gone better than he had expected. They had all gathered in the Hokage Tower, with Shikamaru staring at Naruto with a white and amazed face. A wide smile suddenly split Naruto's face, and he suddenly started dancing around with anime tears streaming down his face. They stared at him, Shikamaru looking so surprised that he might as well faint. She is healed, she is healed. Naruto kept chanting continuously as he performed a rather disturbing jig. Jiraiya face-bombed, and Sasuke stared right into Naruto's eyes. Shut up. At this Naruto's face fell, though the tear remained in his eyes. Sorry about that, he said, scratching his head diffidently. It is just I am so happy. They heard a brief croaking kind of sound, and turned to Shikamaru, who was making a series of said sounds with an indignant hand pointing at Naruto. You. He sputtered, his face so white that Naruto was sure he would go to radish level whiteness. What? Asked Sasuke irritably, somewhat alarmed by the unflappable Shikamaru's extreme reactions. He looked at Naruto with a discerning expression. True, the healing was extremely impressive. Jiraiya and Kakashi looked at Shikamaru with a smug amusement, enjoying the young shonin's reaction. Oh, you have deduced my identity, haven't you? Asked Naruto happily. Sasuke stared at him with a deadpan look. Dobi, Shikamaru is not that dumb. No, you don't understand, choked out Shikamaru. He is not Naruto. He is Senju Hashirama, said the Nora in a faint voice. Sasuke stared at him as if he had gone crazy, not noticing the knowing looks of the others. You have finally gone insane, haven't you? Not that you Nora people were any saner in the first place. And you call Uchiha unstable. You've lost it, said Sasuke, shaking his head miserably. Then he looked up at Kakashi. Sensei, did you hear that load of CR? He paused. You don't actually believe him, do you? He asked in an incredulous, pointed at Naruto furiously. You don't believe that the Dobi here is actually Hashirama himself, do you? He cannot be him. That would mean he is stronger than even my ancestor Madara. That is impossible for someone like him. Hey! Said Naruto indignantly. I defeated Madara every single time we fought, you know. I used to be better than him. Not to mention you defeated me along with him, came Kurama's rather put out voice. That would release of yours is really annoying. I have much more chakra than you, but you got me all too easily. This is insanity, said Sasuke. You are all insane, he said in a blank voice and tried to make out of the room. Tsunade stood up immediately. Stand down, Sasuke. This is an SS class secret, and we will not let you walk out freely with it whether or not you believe in it. Listen carefully, said Tsunade, and laid forth the evidence that supported Naruto's claims, all of it. An hour later both Shikamaru and Sasuke stared at Naruto with amazement. Naruto grinned at them weakly. Pleased to meet you, Sasuke. For your information, you are nothing close to Madara, he said reassuringly. Sasuke's eyes narrowed dangerously. Naruto waved his hands around frantically. No, not like that. You are not of Madara's darkness. You are much better than him. He shouted, causing the Uchiha to calm down. Shikamaru said weakly, Senju Hashirama. That's me, said Naruto, raising his hand cheerfully. Kakashi stepped forth. This is getting us nowhere, he said calmly. All these reactions are funny to watch, Naruto. I even look forward to seeing other people's reactions to the truth of your past life, he said, causing Naruto to smirk. But we do need to know a few things. We can't tell you everything at once, said Jiraiya immediately. We will only cover the important points for now. It would take a long time to tell you all everything. Right? He asked an agreeable Naruto, who was still basking in relief and happiness. Yeah, but be brief, replied Naruto, and returned to his relieved lounging. Jiraiya turned to them, and began. We spent the first year traveling around to hone our skills, infiltrated Iwa in the late portion of that year. Early next year we were detected by Pain, and I had to literally drag Naruto out of the village for fighting Pain in the middle of his own base was foolishness. We were in hiding near Naruto for the next few months, during which I met Orochimaru and nearly killed him. I too had suffered serious wounds and took another month to recuperate. Finally, for the last year we wandered the nations of Mizu and Kumo, occasionally meeting Kushina. It was during this time that training yielded the most result, finished Jiraiya, to a room that was blinking after the overly simplified account. I see, said Tsunade, blinking once in surprise. Naruto palmed his forehead. Not that brief, you perverted hermit! He exclaimed. Jiraiya smirked at him, causing him to turn to Tsunade with an exasperated look. That was pretty much what happened, he said. Tsunade shook her head, glancing at Jiraiya with an angered look. You idiot, that is why we could not draw out Orochimaru from his hidey hole. Now it turns out that it was you doing a half-baked job that cost us so many Anbu. Naruto was on immediate alert. They had lost Anbu to Otagakure? Jiraiya's face showed utter surprise at the fact. What happened? Asked Naruto seriously. Tsunade sighed, and Naruto felt a deep melancholy take hold of the room. His senses could feel a particular sadness from Sasuke, a kind that felt very familiar. A kind that felt. Whom did you lose? Asked Naruto in a soft voice to Sasuke. Kakashi shot him a warning look, but he needed to know. Sasuke looked down to the ground, and the fact that he was so controlled in his emotional display brought home to Naruto how much he had grown. My sensei, Uzuki Yujou. She taught me how to use the sword like a true shinobi, said Sasuke, his fist clenching briefly. Shikamaru was also highly poignant, and Naruto noticed it. What happened? He asked again. The Anbu stationed near Orochimaru's base were getting blasts of extremely strong chakra, said Tsunade. They were ordered to investigate the base as soon as possible, and it was termed an S-rank mission. We have lost contact from them, a year ago now. We assume Orochimaru killed them all, she finished with a sad tone. But we almost died in that fight, both of us, said Jiraiya harshly. Even that creep would take some time to recover from that fight, so it could not have been him. It was most likely someone else. Not Akatsuki, or else either I or Naruto would have felt their presence. Not necessarily, said Naruto. I have searched for pain for a long time now, and he has managed to evade me every time I think I have him. For the last year I have been aware of Orochimaru's unnatural behavior, not that it was ever national, he said with a hint of disgust. I wanted for us to attack Hoto, snarled Sasuke, as his eyes burned red. But he pointed to Tsunade with fury. She would not let me go. Told me I would be considered a Nukenin if I disobeyed her orders. She was right to do so, Sasuke said Shikamaru quietly. Before they could bicker too much, Naruto intervened. Kakashi, he said loudly. How strong do you think Sasuke is? Everybody quieted down, looking curiously at the Jounin. Kakashi looked at Sasuke and then back at Naruto. After a few moments he said in a low voice, he can awaken Susanoo. Naruto's eyes widened, memories coming to him from his other life. Memories of a battle when he and Madara had fought as just boys, the moment when Madara showed him just what it meant to possess the Mangekyo Sharingan. He had little doubt that if one took the trouble to trace back the lineage of Sasuke and Itachi, they would be lead inevitably to Madara. Why? Asked Sasuke hollowly. My strength is of no use if I cannot use it to help my precious people, he said, shooting a dirty look at Tsunade, who stared back firmly. Naruto held up his hand, drawing attention. Do you think he can hold off Orochimaru if it comes down to that? He questioned Kakashi intently. The one-eyed Jounin frowned, considering his reply. Sasuke remained silent. He can, said Kakashi shortly. Not for long, but he can do it. Naruto nodded briefly. I will not send him, said Tsunade firmly, causing Naruto to turn to her. I will not send that boy and allow him to get captured by Orochimaru or possibly killed. No need, said Naruto and smiled grimly. Jiraiya's eyes widened, he knew that tone. Before he could say anything, Naruto had said his piece. I know you want to flush out Orochimaru. He will not be flushed out unless there is a reason. I can be that reason, said Naruto in a serious voice. Sasuke needs to rescue his Kenjutsu sensei, you need information on Orochimaru, and I really do not like Akatsuki. If I create a distraction you can slip in, even Sasuke. I occupy those Otagakure for enough time to let the nin complete their missions. Everyone wins, except Hoto, said Naruto triumphantly. The room was too silent. But it was broken eventually by Shikamaru. Your plan would be good, but for the fact that the moment you use Makodan it would alert the Akatsuki nations into premature actions. We are not yet prepared for a war. He is right, said Kakashi. Naruto shook his head slightly. I will not use Makodan, then. I could defeat Izuna without it, and I damn well killed Kakazu without it. I can definitely handle Orochimaru's ragtag army without it, he said firmly. Are you quite sure? Asked Tsunade in a grave voice. Naruto nodded, but Jiraiya shouted desperately. You cannot be serious. You have not seen those diversions of his, Haim. He will raise Otagakure to the ground again. Trust me, I would know. Why else do you think Orochimaru is reinforcing it with earth walls? You perverted hermit! Shouted Naruto in return. Orochimaru had stabbed you with Kusanagi and I had to do something. Killing that snake would take too much time and you were dying fast. It was the best I could come up with at the time. Fine, grumbled Jiraiya. Everyone was looking at them with amazement, Tsunade with exasperation. Really? That was the reason why we are in this mess? Your solutions are sometimes too drastic, Ojisan. She exclaimed. Naruto held up his hands in surrender. I said I would help, didn't I? So what do you say about my plan? Asked Naruto curiously. Everyone looked at Tsunade, who asked Shikamaru. I find no real debilitating consequences. Can you? She asked. What if Akatsuki come? Asked the Nara. Naruto's eyes became filled with a terrible anger. Let them come. They have escaped me for quite some time now, they have been steering clear of me quite prudently. If they come, I will tear them to pieces, he promised viciously. Sasuke looked alarmed at this sight of Naruto's. The truth about the Uzumaki had not yet sunk in. But now he could see traces of something far older and more powerful than he could possibly imagine in the Dobi's face, and could begin to accept the impossible truth. that Naruto was Senju Hashirama reborn into the world. I am sure you will, Shodai-sama, Shikamaru managed to say. Naruto waved his hand at the Nara, calming down immediately. Do not call me that, Shikamaru. I am him, but not entirely. It would be an abomination for the dead to reclaim themselves in this manner. I am Hashirama, but Naruto describes my personality better. Shikamaru nodded diffidently. The time is coming, said Jiraiya suddenly. Intel has reached me that Akatsuki is beginning to make a move on Ikabi and Nobi. This means Kumage Cure is under danger. All for the better, said Naruto calmly. Tsunade turned to him incredulously. How can you say that? She demanded. Simple. I attack Hodo, we cripple their presence in that area. They will not strike back until really necessary, not until they are threatened directly. Pain does not care about such peripheral support as long as he is fixated upon the Baiju. This is our best chance to take out Togekure with a minimum of interference, he said, with eyes shining in their excitement. So, as long as Akatsuki concentrates on the Jinchuriki, they will not concentrate too much on Oto, said Tsunade musingly. It will not escalate into a war we are not truly prepared for. At best it will be a minor battle, she said, mirroring the cunning look in Naruto's eyes. I don't care, said Sasuke. I only wish to rescue my sensei. And rescue her we will, said Naruto pleasantly. And along with that, we will deal Orochimaru a nice surprise. I still haven't forgiven him for almost killing the pervert here, nor for resurrecting my family in such an abominable manner. Will you be taking a team with you? Asked Shikamaru curiously. No, said Naruto firmly. I will cause widespread panic in Oto with my attack, and they will all pile up on me in their hurry. Sasuke will blend into the confusion and search the base to complete the mission. I would appreciate Kakashi here with me, though. You have business here, don't you, Orosenin? I do, said Jiraiya. I have important things to do. If you try to peep on Shizune or me once more, threatened Tsunade with cracking knuckles. Jiraiya denied it vehemently. I would be honored, Naruto, said Kakashi loudly. Naruto nodded. Excellent, he said, and looked at Sasuke, who shot him a look that said, do you even have to ask? We'll leave tomorrow then, shall we? Asked Naruto to Tsunade. The Hokage nodded with anticipation. Bring him down, Ojisan. Let us end Orochimaru once and for all. They are nothing in front of my eyes, said Sasuke arrogantly. Naruto laughed out nostalgically, causing Sasuke to turn to him with a perplexed look. After a few moments of short guffaws he said. In many ways you are like my old friend Madara. He said the exact same thing when the two of us fought the Yotsuki clan's original army. But that was when we were friends, he reminisced sadly. Shodai Raikage's personal army, just after Konoha was built? Asked Shikamaru with wide eyes. On Naruto's nod he said, that army was 7,000 shinobi strong. Naruto scratched his head, remembering him and Madara standing by each other's side as they literally slaughtered the entire army. He had only sought to incapacitate them, but Madara had not hesitated. No, I think it was more like 9,000, confessed Naruto. Sasuke let out a shocked exclamation. 9,000? He choked out in a stunned whisper. Kakashi shook his head resignedly. Madara was almost about to kill the man who would become Shodai Raikage. The man had surrendered, he was too afraid of our strength. Said we were not of this world, reminisced Naruto. I had everyone in my half restrained and incapacitated, and Madara had killed everybody in his half of the army. I mean everyone. I was sickened by his actions, and stopped him from dealing the final blow. From then he always took to calling me a soft-hearted fool, who did not know to kill his enemies. You stopped your half of an army of 9,000 shinobi, without killing them? Asked Shikamaru in a faint voice. If that is true, then I do not think we will have too many problems with Oto. I am inclined to agree, said Kakashi with his understated humor. Naruto looked at Tsunade seriously. I wish to be back before Mito awakens, for which I give a week. It will take time for her body to recuperate completely. We must begin our preparations.
Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you guys want to watch more like it, please subscribe to my channel and become part of the video game fanfiction plot. And please leave a comment down below and hit that like button. If you guys have any suggestions on any stories you guys want me to read, don't hesitate. They're always welcome here in the video game fanfic plot. That also goes for video games. Until next time, goodbye!